Sippin' whiskey, wild child.
Dipping, rolling, pushing Johnny Avenue.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Awkward Situations, the series where you guys leave comments about awkward situations that are happening in your lives, embarrassing stories, or anything else that you feel like talking about, questions you feel like asking me in the comments section below, and I take a few of those comments and I talk about them in this series. I hope you enjoy the new face cam setup. I've been using my Elgato green screen a lot, and hopefully I can figure out a way to integrate it into the Awkward Situations format of how I edit the videos and not make it look weird. I'm sure I'll figure it out in editing and hopefully make it look good. I know one of the things you guys always say is if I'm going to change the format of the face cam or whatever I'm going to do with the video, you want to be able to see the comments when I'm actually reading them. So I have to make the comments large. I don't know where I'm going to put the comments. Maybe I'll put them above my head or something. I don't know. But yeah, this is a new layout, so I hope you like it, and I hope you like the World War II gameplay in the background, some beta gameplay from a beta male. The first gameplay is very good. The rest are just kind of thrown together gameplays from shit from last week clips that I recorded with my friends. So I hope I didn't do too terrible on those, but I know a lot of you guys don't care about the gameplay. You care about the situation, so let's get to those. Right now, we're actually going to start with an update to an update. I believe this is the first update to an update. I really appreciate this dude following up. His first situation was a nervousness for going to college in the fall because he was going to be rooming with someone who is a Marine who is not serving anymore, but a Marine who served overseas and is now going to school. And he was nervous to room with this person because he's 18, fresh out of high school, and the Marine has been across the sea, has probably seen a lot of stuff in his day, so he didn't know how well their personalities were going to mesh together. His second update, I can't even remember what he said. I think he said like it made him feel, or he talked to the Marine, and he felt like it wasn't going to be that big of a deal. So now he's actually in college, and he followed up and said, "Hey Joel, I have an update for you on my Marine roommate situation. So it's been a couple of weeks since my move-in, and he's a pretty nice guy. He's not in the room very often, but I live in an apartment-style room, so I have two other roommates besides him. But overall, he's a really cool guy, so I was pretty much worrying about nothing. Thanks for your help with the situation, Joel." So, glad to see that worked out. That's what my mom would always say. I'm a big worrier, and my mom's also a big worrier, so she gives me good advice on worrying about things because she's worried more years of her life than I have. So I'm sure I'm going to have a child that's a worrier, so I'll be able to give the same advice that most things are not as bad as you think they will be in the end. The worrying is usually the worst part about a lot of these situations, things anything you're worried about. That the actual worrying is 9 times out of 10 worse than what the result of the situation is, the resolved situation. So, glad to see this worked out for this dude. He's got a good roommate and 2 other roommates that he can hang with. Let's move on to today's awkward situations right now. Some of you guys are going to think this one is weird, but this one is very topical for me right now. I don't know. You'll see. Hey Joel, I am a freshman in college and I am on the bowling team at my school. Our coach just recently quit the team due to salary cuts, and I just found out that the new coach of our team happens to be my girlfriend's dad. I feel like my relationship with her dad will be weird now that I have to regard him as my coach. My girlfriend is really happy that this happened, but I'm a little uneasy about it. Any advice you have would be great. Thanks, Joel. Okay, so why this is topical to me is because my former high school basketball coach is a great guy, and he's a successful guy, very successful business guy. So he recently started with some other people. I don't really know the full story. I'm not in super close contact with him after high school. He recently started purchasing coffee franchises, and he's become really successful working at these coffee franchises or owning these coffee franchises, a combination of both. And he won an award within the company. So this company, which is a pretty big coffee company in Michigan, has billboards all over the state, and in particular where I live, the Lansing area, and my coach is on a lot of those billboards, my former coach in high school, my varsity basketball coach. So I'll just be driving down the street, and I'll look on a billboard, and I'll see my former coach holding up a cinnamon spice tea, or a pumpkin spice latte. It's pumpkin spice season, boys. I know a lot of my viewers probably aren't in on pumpkin spice season. I'm personally not in on pumpkin spice season. Megan's in on that basic pumpkin spice season, but it's just really weird to me. Though he used to yell at me in practice and get on my ass and motivate me and all this stuff, and driving down the street and I see my coach staring down at me with a whipped cup of goodness in his hands. So that's, I don't know, that's why it's topical to me. But I also think this is kind of a funny situation because you do have to be careful. He has to treat you like any other guy. I mean, if he's a nice moral guy, a good coach, he's going to treat you like any other guy. As if you were his own son, if he was coaching you. You just got to treat everyone on the team equally if you're the coach, or at least try to. It's hard to hide that bias. Just ask Doc Rivers in the NBA. His son Austin Rivers happened to get a nice fat contract with the Clippers, who Doc was the president of and the coach, and now is just the coach of. But it would be really funny if he just traded his son away. It's like, nah, it's hard to remove that bias. But hopefully he's going to remove the bias. You're going to want to be careful with what you say. If he's trying to show you techniques on how to hold the bowling ball, you don't want to be like, oh, don't worry, I'm real good with my fingers. Wink, and then you get punched in the face. Got to be real careful with stuff like that. Ooh, I could just see some awkward scenarios, talking about waxing balls, and you'd be like, who really waxes balls? Well, your daughter. Okay, I'm off the team. That's unfortunate for me. So I think it's going to be a good dynamic. You'll get to know him a little better. It's always tough with relationships with girlfriends' fathers. I have a good one with my ex-girlfriend. I had a good one, and actually I saw him recently. I talked to him. He was doing well. He's a really cool guy, and I have a great relationship with Megan's father, my father-in-law. And it takes time to build those relationships up. So you got to put yourself in the shoes of a father. He's going to be trying to coach you on how to hit a 7-10 split, in the back of his mind thinking, this guy has sex with my little girl who used to love me and spend all this time with me, and now she's repulsed by me and wants to hang out with this ugly man. And hopefully he's not a demon, like my impression. I don't know what the hell that was. But it's an awkward dynamic for the both of you. I think it can bring you two closer together, especially if he's a good guy and you treat his daughter well. Definitely going to be an awkward situation that you should comment on again if you and the daughter break up and he's still your coach. But for now, I don't think it will be too big of a deal. I don't know too much about bowling either, but just to stereotype, it seems like a sport that is a little more individual. It'd be one thing if he controlled your playing time on a team sport like hockey or football or basketball. But I think bowling is more you just do your own thing anyway, and then the coach helps you where he can. So that's all I had to say about that situation. I mostly just want to talk about my own life situation that has been extremely awkward to me lately. Let's move on to the next awkward situation right now. Second awkward situation says, Dear Mr. Joel, I will be a freshman in college this fall and also part of one of the largest classes in history. For context, he is going to a Big Ten school. I don't want to say which school, but it is a large university in the United States of America. This has caused a huge dorm shortage, something that also happens at Michigan State University, where I live, causing me to get an apartment in the near area. I went down with a number of places in mind, and they were all sold by within the 2 days it took for me to go down. I live 5 hours away. This caused me to get the one roommates I didn't predict, 3 female roommates. I signed on thinking it might be 1 or 2 girls, but at least one guy. Now, I'm a hero amongst my friends, but I am fearful that I will be the odd man out of the house. I was excited to be a part of a social dorm life, and I hope this doesn't ruin it. Please upvote so Joel will see. I had a friend that this happened to, and I actually had 2 friends. I'm not thinking about it. I had 2 friends that this happened to, and they both solved the problem the same way. One was male and one was female. The female joined a sorority and the male joined a fraternity. And then they were never really in their apartment. They were always hanging in the frat house or sorority house. So you don't necessarily have to do that. But with that thinking in mind, in college, your roommates aren't necessarily your best friends. Now, that happens sometimes. I don't know what the percentage is. Maybe some of you in the comments in college could let me know how you feel about your roommates potentially being your best friends. My roommate was certainly not my best friend. I would hang out with the people I was in clubs with and the people I would work in groups with and I was friends with from class. I made some friends in class. Megan's first roommate was definitely not her best friend, and then she switched roommates, and they're close friends to this day. So your roommates don't necessarily determine your college experience. I would say it's maybe 49% of your college experience at the most, because it is what you make it. That's the cool thing about college. You can Do whatever you want. So I would highly recommend, as I do to anyone trying to find some structure in college, to join clubs and or join social groups like fraternities, sororities, whatever. I think that will really help you in this regard. I also wanted to note, on a personal level, I think women are great friends. My best friend is my wife, Megan, but before I was married to Megan, my also best friend, who I'm not married to, is a girl. And I've had guy friends, I'm pretty macho. You guys watch this channel enough to know that I slay a lot of puss, and I drink a lot of alcohols. So I'm a pretty macho guy. I don't feel the need to defend myself, and I don't even feel ashamed to let you guys know that I watch a lot of TLC lately. Great channel, 90 Day Fiancé. There's a lot of great things. Bachelor in Paradise is on ABC, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are missing it because you don't have enough female friends. It's okay to have female friends, and I think you will become more emotionally intellectual with women in the house. Now, your period is also going to sync up to all of their periods. I don't know if you guys know this, but girls' periods sync up when they live together. And as a male, you probably don't have a period, but you might get one from living with all three of them. And then it will all sync up. So you'll have like kind of a cool quad period together. It's weird. You're going to want to be real careful 1 week of the month. When they're all synced up, you're not going to want to have the TV on a super loud volume when they're all in the room studying. You're going to want to have headphones on. Other than that, I'd love to hear some comment advice from people. I think this is going to be fine. If you just join some social clubs, shouldn't be a big deal. Or just do a lot of push-ups in the living room and hope that one of them becomes attracted to you, and then another one becomes attracted to you, and they all have this big fight over who gets to have sex with you first, and then you resolve the problem by having sex with all three of them at once. That might be unrealistic, but I've seen a few videos like that. Let's move on to the next awkward situation. Next awkward situation says, "Hey Joel, awkward situation here. I'm a junior in high school, and a couple of weeks before school started, me and 4 friends went to teepee and egg houses. We decided on fucking with the school-wide thoughts house, and we did just that. But when we finished, one of my friends pulled his knife out and slashed her tires. Only 2 of them, but it was a PT Cruiser, so that shit's well deserved. But long story short, she found out it was me and is threatening calling the police on just me. I didn't throw any teepee or eggs. I was just getaway driver. But should I tell her that my friend was the one who slashed tires, or should I take the blame for it? Like, I don't want to tell her it was my buddy because then I'd lose a friend, but I also don't want the cops calling me. She's asking for $250 to not call the cops. Bitch is highballing me because I looked up the tires she has and they're only $50 each. I know I'm fucked either way. I'm just trying to be the least amount of fucked. Any help would be great. Thanks." Well, here's some help, bro. You sound like a huge douche. I know your friend was the one that slashed the tires, but that's kind of fucked up that you go to the school-wide thoughts house to punish her for being a thought. Which, I mean, so that means that hoe over there, that means this woman you are accusing of hoeing around, having sex with multiple men. And I don't want to get all, into some gender roles type shit, but if a guy's having sex with multiple women, he's a PIMP, and if a girl's having sex with multiple men, she's a hoe. That's not right. She is one of the most generous people at your school. She's doing a great service. She sounds like she's having a great time, if it's even true. High school rumors are bullshit. I got poked in the eye during a pickup basketball game. I went to go to the eye doctor that morning. By the afternoon, I came back to the school, and everyone thought I was blind. Within a span of 5 hours, an entire rumor had gone around the school that I was blind. I mean, if it was 2016, there would have been a GoFundMe page by the time I got back to school, but it was in 2006 or whatever. Rumors can be a bitch in school. So I don't even know if this girl is actually a hoe. You could just be saying that. So one, I think that's a little fucked up. Now, I'm going to say that a lot of people are douches in high school. You're probably a slightly higher level douche than most people. But I also TP'd houses. I didn't egg houses. I think that's a little fucked up because egg can cause damage that costs money to fix. It doesn't really cost money to get toilet paper out of your trees and off your house and stuff. So we toilet papered people in high school. It was fun. I've gotten toilet paper before. I've had to clean it up, whatever. What's wrong with a PT Cruiser, by the way? My uncle had a PT Cruiser, and he's like a real cool motherfucker. So now if you have a PT Cruiser, you're a douche? I don't know. Fuck kids these days, man. So you're getting highballed for the tires. I mean, she could be adding in the cleanup hours. You know, maybe she gets paid $7 an hour to clean up her yard and the eggs. Maybe there was some paint damage on the car. I don't know. If I were you, I would just, one, stop being a douche. And then, two, your friend also seems like a douche. So you could narc on him if you want, or you could just pay it. I mean, the least amount of fucked. You definitely don't want the cops called on you, I would assume. But I would also like you to learn a lesson. This woman is doing a great service, or it's a rumor. Either way, this whole thing is shitty. And I hope when I'm a father of kids, there is some technology that allows you to put like stakes in each corner of your yard. So when there's intruders in your yard at a certain time of night, the stakes just raise up and shoot lasers on the ground. So anyone standing on the yard has their legs chopped off by lasers. Now, that's going to be real fucked up if that happens to a baby deer. But if it happens to some people trying to egg my cars and shit, it doesn't really matter. Getting back to how to help you, I guess if you don't want the cops called, I might pay her $250. I don't know if that's a lot of money to you. If that is a lot of money to you, maybe you should narc on your friend. But you seem kind of between a rock and a hard place. Either way, learn from this. This is not a good situation. I don't want to act all high and mighty. I was douchey in high school. I never slashed anyone's tires, though. I think that's a little fucked up. So I hope your friend gets the help he deserves. I'm sure he is going to do great things in his life. And hope you guys all learn a valuable lesson. Last awkward situation today says, awkward situation, I am 19 and have a 15-month-old daughter, and I live in Iowa. I'm in her life almost every day. Baby mama and I are split. I got a job offer that is in Harlingen, Texas. I want to remain in her life as much as possible, but this job offer is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The mom is staying in Iowa no matter what. Any suggestions from anyone would be great. Thanks. This is a question that I think has a different answer depending on where you are in your life. So I'm someone that does not have a child, and I think to a lot of people who don't have children, the answer to this is obvious. If it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, you take the job and you see the child as much as possible, you FaceTime, whatever. And that might be the correct answer. This is an answer that only this person can ask for themselves. I just want to be able to illustrate both sides of the story and then kind of share my perspective on the whole thing without having a child. And I feel like having a child would really, really change my perspective on this. Although, I don't know, I'll share a couple of stories about my dad because it's kind of worked into my psyche about how I think about this. I know in the last situation I said I didn't want to talk about gender roles, but that is something I believe in. As a man, that's how my father raised me. You provide for the family. Maybe that means if your wife has a high-paying job as a lawyer or something, you're doing all the yard work possible. You're keeping that house clean. You're working yourself, and even if you're not making as much, you're doing everything you can to provide for your family, be a good role model, all of that. So I do think it is important for you to have a good job and to be able to provide for your daughter. I also think it is important for kids to know their parents. And this is where I want to share two stories I've learned from my dad. Well, I didn't learn from my dad. Two stories about my dad. These are the two most important things I have learned in life. Two of the most important things I've learned in life. I've probably learned more important things, like don't drink milk after eating Mexican food. But these are just, when I think about my dad, the two things that really stick out and will stick out to me for the rest of my life. So I've probably told these stories before. I'm sorry if they're repetitive to some of you, but I want to share them again because I feel like they are just important lessons I've learned. One of the lessons, I was a freshman in college and I lived an hour and a half away from my parents' house. I come home one weekend and I decide to drive back Sunday night because I have classes that next Monday morning. I say goodbye to my parents, whatever. Drive and get back to the school, get out of my car to realize that I do not have my backpack that has my books and my laptop for my classes. By the time I'm back at the school, it is close to 1 a.m. because I left my parents' house really late. I was having a good time talking to my family. I text my parents about the situation, saying I'm going to come back in the morning to get the books. I'm going to wake up early to come back in the morning to get the books and try to get back before my class, which was at 9 a.m. Unbeknownst to me, my father decided to drive the hour and a half to my college and then the hour and a half back in the middle of the night. He had a spare key to my car. He put the books in my car and texted me at 3 a.m. I was still up because I was playing video games And he said, I just drove to the school, put the books in your car. Have a nice day tomorrow. Love you. And that has stuck with me ever since, because he wakes up at 5 a.m. every day to go to work. He works really hard. He is in a great position at his job, not necessarily a job he loves, but he is great at the job, and he works really hard every day of his life. He had to get up way earlier than me, and he drove an hour and a half to put my backpack in my car so I could go get it and go to class tomorrow and not have to drive home. That taught me a lot about fatherhood without him having to specifically give me some lesson. There's another situation that relates a little more to what you're dealing with. That was my father and I talking in the car. So we were just driving somewhere. I can't remember where. I was 17 at the time. And we were talking about my father's old job. He used to work at an ad agency. And I was learning about jobs at the time. When you're 17, it's kind of when you start to think about what you want to do with your life. And I was thinking maybe I want to get in the ad agency. So we're talking about, or I was thinking maybe I want to get into the advertising business. So we were talking about the advertising business, and we got to talking, and I was like, you know, Dad, if you would have stayed at the company you were at, you would be making a lot of money right now, right? You would be close to an ad executive, because he had a pretty good position when he quit. And he said, yeah, but it's 2 hours away, and I was working constantly. I was the only guy there who was married. I would not be home a lot. I wouldn't have been home a lot trying to advance in the company to get to a higher position, because ad agencies are really competitive and the hours are very long. So I said, I don't understand how you didn't stay at that job, because we would have so much money now. And he said, when I was born, he made the choice to take a position closer to home. It was for less money, which karma, I kind of believe in. It has a really high-paying position at that job now, a pretty decently high-paying position. He cut his commute from an hour and a half each way every day to 20 minutes each way every day. And he didn't work as many hours as he would have at the ad agency. I said, was this a difficult decision to make, knowing that you were going to be turning down not turning down, but you were going to be leaving a company in which you had a surefire, high-paying job in your future for a company where you won't necessarily have that, which, by the way, he has a really good position at that job now. He's worked really hard for many years. And I think I believe in karma. Good things happen to good people. It's worked out for him. But, when he was making that decision, he didn't necessarily know that. So he said to me, it was the easiest decision in the world to make because of me, which I didn't understand at the time. My 17-year-old self was like, well, that's fucking stupid. But the older I get and the closer I get to wanting to have kids and having my nephew in my life, I think it is important to be in a child's life. So I can't make this decision for you. No one in the comments is going to make the decision for you. All I can say is I think it is important to provide for your family, but I also think it is going to be important for your daughter to have a father. If you can find some way to have the job and still be in your daughter's life a lot, I think that would be the ideal situation. Sometimes in life you can't necessarily compromise, especially with kids, and you might just have to try to find a job closer to home that's not a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I can't make the decision for you, but I just want to share those stories with you and the viewers thinking about fatherhood. So hope you guys appreciated this episode. Hope you guys are all having good falls. I am going to go back to playing my sports games and just living life, I guess. So until next Awkward Situations, I'll see you guys. Peace.
Sippin'. Yeah. I'm just a Jackie sipping whiskey, yeah.